I am so excited for this spa day. Candles lit, music on, hot tub warm and ready. And then my chronic hives come back. Again, in the middle of my spa day. What a wet blanket. Looks like another spell of itchy red skin. If you have chronic spontaneous urticaria, or CSU, there is a different treatment option. Hives during my next spa day? Not if I can help it. Learn more at treatmyhives.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
The NFL trade deadline is come and gone, and the Eagles are still the best team in the NFL. Well, in my eyes, they are. Welcome to the Eagles Checkdown, the fastest under 10-minute Eagles podcast there is, covering news, notes, and opinions on your favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles, right here on the Eagles Pinpoll Podcast Network. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel. You can also find me hosting Trending in the AM on the STT Sports Network, Monday through Friday, live at 8 a.m. Make sure you check it out. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible, so take the link below, copy and paste it, tune in live at 8 a.m., bring your thoughts and opinions on this trade deadline. And on Wednesday, I got a very, very special guest, author of a new book on Moses Malone, Paul Knepner, will be joining me. So make sure you tune in and check out that great interview. He'll be joining at 9 a.m. on Training the AM. Guys, the trade deadline's come and gone. I got some Eagles news to talk about, notes and opinions, and I want to go over the trades that happened in the NFL on Tuesday before the 4 p.m. deadline. So let's get to that first, because the Eagles didn't make any more trades on Tuesday. But, you know, Howie Roseman spoke afterwards, so we'll get into that, those notes and some roster moves and situations with the Eagles, so we'll get into that in a minute. But let's start with some of the moves in the NFL from Tuesday. Jacoby Myers, Raiders wide receiver, got traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars to bolster their offense. The Jags gave up a 4th and a 6th-round pick. He wasn't the only wide receiver traded, because the Seattle Seahawks traded for New Orleans Saints wide receiver Rashid Shaheed. They gave up a 4th and a 5th-round pick. Sneaky great deal there. Seattle is a threat to challenge the Eagles come playoff time. I mean, we'll have to see how Sam Darnold would do in the playoffs, but they're a damn fine football team right there in Seattle that they're building. New culture, new thing, and now they add another great wide receiver to go in that offense. So that's a big one. There were some other really big deals. Biggest one probably of the day was the Indianapolis Colts bolstered their defense and, most importantly, secondary by signing trading for Sauce Gardner from the Jets. They gave up 2 first-round picks and their young wide receiver, A.D. Mitchell. Sauce Gardner literally just signed a 4-year, $120+ million deal with the Jets this past offseason, and now he's on the move to the Colts. It's kind of a win-now move for the Colts because the AFC is wide open, and it started a flurry of move from the Jets, collecting and hoarding first-round picks over the next couple of years, because then later in the day, the Jets traded their 3-time Pro Bowler, Quinnen Williams, to the Cowboys for a first-round pick in 27 and a second-round pick in 2026. The Cowboys also added Logan Wilson, linebacker from the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cowboys gave up a 7th-rounder. The Cowboys' moves are interesting to me because they're now 3-5-1 after losing on Monday Night Football. They're 3+ games behind the Eagles for the division. They're not a likely playoff team. And you have given up now, you know, another first-round pick. One of the first-round picks you got. You pad your cupboard. You gave a first-round pick for a defensive tackle? Like, I think it's a bit of a reach for the Cowboys this year to make that kind of move. The Jets now, after Tuesday's trade deadline, have 5 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks over the next 2 years. It's a shame they're the Jets, and they don't know how to manage a front office unless Howie Roseman was going to help them or something like that. 5 first-round picks in the next 2 years. The future is bright. I'm shocked they didn't move anybody else. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Jermaine Johnson. None of those names got moved. Maybe they get moved in the offseason and collect even more assets, but the Jets are in full rebuild mode there. The Colts obviously did great there. I love the Shaheed trade for the Seahawks. I think it was great for them to get another weapon for Sam Darnold. another wide receiver to complement Jackson Smith Nagatu. So I think that was really, really great right there. Big, outside of the Eagles, because the Eagles, I think, won this deadline, getting the best pass rusher that was traded, adding Jair Alexander, adding Michael Carter. I think the Eagles won the deadline based off of what they gave up and what they got back. Next, I would say Seattle was the next best thing. And the Colts, I give the Colts credit for trading 2 firsts in this win now mode right there. So the Eagles didn't make any more moves, but they did make roster moves. They did open the practice window for Nolan Smith, leading him to play on Monday Night Football with the against the Green Bay Packers. They did not do that with Ja'Cory Bennett. So that's something right now there. Brandon Graham is ready to go. They also released linebacker Patrick Johnson from the active roster, plus Terrence Marshall from the practice squad. Late on Monday, they also released Suapeta from the practice squad as well. So they're moving and dealing. They still got to free up at least one more roster spot. I expect Patrick Johnson to be back on the practice squad here very shortly. But they were the main moves made. So you get Nolan Smith along with Jalen Phillips and Brandon Graham, back in the fold. This Eagles defense is in great shape. Now, and Howie Roseman did speak. He did speak that he will not talk to Jalen Phillips about extending him here midseason. That's his MO. He said it creates a bad locker room environment to extend some and not others midseason. So they'll cross that bridge in the offseason. On Michael Carter, he talked about how he also has the ability to play safety in addition to nickel corner, which is to note because Marcus Epps just went on IR, and they're a little thin at the safety position. He was also asked about the obvious constant rumors about A.J. Brown and if he entertained any offers or trade ideas from people. And this is a quote directly from Howie Roseman on A.J. Brown. I think that when you're trying to be a great team, it's hard to trade great players. A.J. Brown's a great player. He wears a C for a reason. He's an important part of the team, of this organization. He cares about winning. He cares about his teammates. I think that when you're a team like ours that is looking for an opportunity to compete for a championship, you just don't get rid of guys like that. We feel very lucky to have him on our team and excited about the second half of the season with him. So I don't think there was any real talk of trading A.J. Brown. I think that was, as expected, a lot of nonsense, a lot of whatever it is. So that's that. That's the trade deadline. I still think at this point, obviously the Cardinals beat the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. At this point, the Eagles won the bye week. They won the trade deadline. Jair Alexander also spoke about how he was in consideration with the Eagles before the season even started. I think at this point, you have to put the Eagles as the front runners for the NFC, and that's not a homer take. That's not what it is just being honest. What it is that there are good teams, the Seahawks, the Buccaneers, maybe the 49ers. You got the Packers and the Lions still in contention and fighting it out for their division. But the Eagles have the most complete roster at this point, in my opinion. And I don't think there's any argument to be made there of anything else. Before we wrap this up, the weird story that I saw on Twitter on Tuesday. Tom Brady, his last dog that passed away 2 years ago, his new dog, he cloned his new dog from the DNA of his old dog. It was just something completely weird that came across my timeline. I had to mention it. I don't even know why I had to mention it, but I felt like the need to mention it right there. So there's that, guys. We'll be back tomorrow with more Eagles news and notes. They'll get back to practice here really soon. Probably Thursday will be their first practice of the week. We'll probably hear from Nick Sirianni and some of the coaches tomorrow. So we'll lean into that tomorrow, and then we'll get set for this Green Bay Packers matchup on Monday Night Football, guys. Everybody have a great Wednesday. Go Birds. And bubbles up.